have to kill you if you're in the way.
My hero.
The Hero Work Recommendation Project. You'll be stationed here on Nabu Island in southern Japan. While you're there, you'll be completely on your own. No teachers to help you or pros to back you up.
This isn't an internship or a work study. We're talking about the real thing.
And I'm sure we can continue to count on you.
I'm on the way! What kind of hero would you want to be?
I'd want to be a super strong one who could beat up villains.
Oh, come on. There aren't any villains on this island.
Playtime is over. I finally found it. Our dream will become a reality.
The new world that we fought to build. I can almost see it.
The strong will lord over the weak in my utopia. Power will be the only factor that matters. One for all.
100%! If I can't protect those two, then I can't call myself a hero!
This is a race against time.
We're the only heroes on this island. We're the only ones who can save the people here.
We're gonna kick the crap out of these losers.
We won't stop now! I'll blast this villain with everything I've got! Detroit!
Welcome everybody. We are back. We are here. We have a lookout special on the network. I am Meelz, of course. If you hear this familiar voice on the Lookout Network, I'm here alongside my cohort, my brother, my manga compadre in arms, Jamal, host of the Big Eyes podcast, also on the Lookout Network. Sir, how are you doing today?
How are you doing? I am good. Just chilling right now. Happy to be here. I'm happy for this special episode. This is gonna be fun. I think this is gonna be fun because it was a big thing. I think it was something that a lot of people were looking forward to, especially me and you. We talked about it, and I don't know. I'm excited to talk about it. I'm excited to put my thoughts out into the world about what happened, my thoughts on the movie in general.
Just to give a heads up to everybody, once again, Jamal hosts the Big Eyes podcast, and I'm seeing now that all of my mangas have reloaded up. It is a manga day.
Yeah, we really are.
After like a weird schedule of like, hey, we're coming out on Friday, and then not again for like 9 days or something along those like, but we're back today. What are you generally interested in? Is there anything that maybe a preview of what you could be talking about this week, like possibly?
A preview of some things. I've been reading.
What's floating in your head? Is anything that you want to talk about? Is there anything with? Demon Slayer kind of left off on an interesting point last time.
Yeah, Demon Slayer left off really. Yeah, Demon Slayer left off big. Last week. So this week's chapter is definitely something that I'm very interested in seeing how things are going to play out, especially how the last chapter ended. I've been catching up on a few things. So, some new mangas will be introduced I haven't talked about yet. A big one is Jujutsu Kaisen. That is soon to be actually adapted as an anime. They are releasing this year. So I'm excited to talk about that in the latest chapter with that. But no, there's some interesting things happening. I've been really interested in like a lot of new stuff that has been dropping, like things that aren't even like I'd say fully rolling yet, like maybe 15 chapters in. But there's a lot of new stuff that has been really heat that I'm excited to talk about.
Listen, if you guys have any, I wouldn't say maybe any why not? Any recommendations? There's a lot of, stuff that's coming out. You see the Crunchyroll originals that have like, they're introducing a whole bunch of new animes like Tower of God and God of High School, a whole bunch of other things. So they're introducing that. So listen, I feel like this thing is continuing to grow. We're only getting bigger and better, and it's only a matter of time until we're talking about a lot of more anime movies like we're going to talk about today. So make sure you guys listen to the Big Eyes podcast. It'll be out on Thursday this week.
Yep.
Talking about a whole bunch of manga. It is your quickest bit. It's a refresher. It's something nice for the drive. It's something nice for the walk home. It's something nice for the walk to the corner store. to cop, whatever. But like, it's something cool just in general. So make sure you listen to that. Make sure you also listen to the Lookout this week. It'll also be out tomorrow. Special guest, OG Johnny 5. We got him to talk about Demon Slayer.
Wow, you got J5 to talk about Demon Slayer,
right?
Oh, I'm
got him
putting
to watch it and everything.
That is great. I'm gonna listen to that episode base boosted because to get him. Oh, that's amazing! I can't wait. I can't wait to hear what he has to say about it.
Yeah, me neither. So make sure you tune into everything on the Lookout this week. But the My Hero Academia Heroes Rising movie, it dropped in North America last week Wednesday. It is out in select theaters. How hard was it for you to find a theater watching this? Or was it hard at all?
It wasn't hard to find a theater. There was 3 theaters that was showing it. It was hard though to get, because I went with a group of people, so it was hard to find even like 4 seats that are kind of running together. So we all we had to like buddy up. So it was like 2 of us sat next to each other, and 2 of them sat like deeper down the row.
Wow.
But the theater was packed. Like the entire theater was packed out. They had a theater I went to. It was 2 showings, and it was just full of just My Hero fans. Like even in the lobby, like, waiting for snacks, this is like a My Hero fan everywhere. You see people with the anime shirts on. So in terms of finding a theater, it wasn't hard. But in terms of finding a show that wasn't completely sold out, that was pretty difficult because it was big. How about you? How was like finding a theater, finding all these things for you?
So here's my general story in terms of how I got to this point. So originally I was going to go by myself. Obviously, I love it. Whatever. I was going to go by myself. I was going to go to the theater. There's a theater in Brooklyn by Court Street. It is the theater I watched Dragon Ball Super Broly at, and that was the theater where all these 17-year-old kids were losing their mind like they were watching animal mixtapes. So I was like, you know what? I would enjoy that experience again from the enthusiastic young crowd to see what's popping and see what's not popping. And then my homeboy Ariel. It's funny we talk about Ariel. Ariel is the person who has produced the Lookout theme song. So who is Ariel?
Oh, wow.
Make sure you follow him on Twitter. So he hit me up because he loves My Hero Academia and he loves anime. He loves art in general. He's like a creator. He's an artist. He doesn't just produce. He draws. He does legitimately everything and anything that you can talk about. It's not even, I kid you not, realistically. He's one of the most talented human beings that ever walked the face of the earth.
That's fire.
He was like, "Oh, I want to go see the movie," and I was like, oh, "Crap! I already bought movies on Wednesday." I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna cancel that. I'm gonna go see with him on Thursday." So we order. It was pretty easy to find the seats. Everyone who's saying it was sold out, to me, I envy your experience because my experience was completely not sold out. In fact, there was about 12 people in the theater.
Really?
We went to one in Times Square, which I usually don't recommend because I do not like Times Square. But Ariel wanted to see this movie. He didn't want to just see the movie regularly. He wanted to see it in 4DX.
So it was like, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go all the way. In with it.
I've never seen a movie in 4DX. Never in my life. I didn't even research like what it was or what anything was or anything. I've never seen a movie in 4DX. So we pulled up to the theater and I get to these seats, and these seats I gotta like turn the thing down so the feet stuff would draw down. I was like, what the is this? So I sit in the chair and the chair starts moving and I'm like, oh, this is 4DX. And not only is there moving, there's smoke, there's mist, there's water, there's lightning, there's everything. And I'm just like, wow, this is overkill, but you know what? I'm with it. An experience is an experience nonetheless. So we were only about 12 people in that theater. We went to a weird showing. We went to like Thursday. It was like, I would say like 5 p.m. Thursday at 5 p.m. There was only like 12 people there. I probably would have appreciated more if I went with a bunch of nerds. So I'm kind of glad. I'm kind of mad now that we went to that theater, but I saw the movie nonetheless. We had the experience that we did. I got rocked in my seat, especially during the final moments where my chair was just elevated.
Oh, your chair was probably hit the switch.
Yeah. They hit everything. Trust me, it was legitimately like a roller coaster.
You see the interview with Currency and Elliot, where Currency hits the switch on the car. It's like
the hydraulics. Oh yeah, the hydraulics.
The hydraulic, bro. Yes, I bet I can see that was you in that chair.
Yeah, I had to turn off the water because I'm like, I don't know where this water's coming from. I'm not risking it at all, trying to, get splashed, because there are times where they go underwater and all this other stuff, and you see all the water shooting from the seats of the shooting from the seats of the movie theater into the air and splashing people. And I was like, nah, I don't know where this water comes from. I'm gonna pass on that. But overall, it was a good experience. I'm sure at some time when I watch this again, I'll see it very stationary. And enjoy it just as well. But that was my experience going to see the movie. It was a very interesting movie. I'm not even mad at you. It's the thing about anime movies is that, like, there are like anime movies that are their own thing, like their own like genre thing. Like it's just happens to be a movie that's an anime that lives in their own world. It's not like an adapted series or anything like that. They're just movies that are anime. And that is fine. Movies that are part of a general series, though, it's kind of where a little bit of a problem lies in terms of the plot for a movie and like how it carries out and how you treat the movie in general.
I agree with you, because I feel that when things are connected to a series, especially as a fan of, whatever series it is, you're going in there with the mindset of, you kind of already know the storyline in a sense. Like you're
going that into nothing is going to change.
Yeah, like nothing is going to change. Nothing crazy is going to like really, really happen. So when you're going into this movie, though, you're going there with this mindset of you're already trying to connect things in the movie with things in the series. And I think sometimes with these movies, it becomes an issue of they either diverge so much away from the storyline where you're kind of like, okay, some of this stuff doesn't make sense, or they stay so close to the storyline that you're kind of like, all right, like there's no much wow factor to it in terms of like, oh, this is
becoming a longer episode rather than
It seems like just a longer episode of like, I could have sat at home and watched this one, and I think they, it's hard for them because they have to find that sweet spot of staying connected to what's really going on in the anime and what's going on in the series and where they're at. And even in terms of timeline of where they're placing this movie, like, is it in the future of where the series is at now? Is it in the past? And in those things, but they also have to, diverge far away enough where it seems fresh, it seems new, it seems something that we really haven't seen before. And there are a few movies that do it well. I feel that the first My Hero movie does that really well. Of it's tied enough to the storyline where you're understanding what's going on, you're understanding the characters, you're understanding context, but it's a further away where everything seems like, it hits you different. You're really drawn into like, oh wow, it feels new, and that you're not watching something that, like you said, that just seems like a longer episode.
So I went in with the pre-notion of the first My Hero Academia movie, and the first one that we actually saw, and I didn't see it in theaters because I got an opportunity to not see it in theaters, and I took up on that even though I originally bought a ticket. And then I was like, oh great, I don't have to see it in theaters anymore. I can't wait. So I watched it not in theaters, and I just remember that movie. I was like, okay, this was cool, but like once again, like there's a lot of tie-ins to the actual story itself, and when you have a series like My Hero Academia, there's a lot of things that sort of tie into the series, and there's a lot of things that like from quirks to relationships to all these other things, there's a lot of things that affect the general path of the series, but overall nothing changed and nothing was affected, and this villain kind of like he mattered nothing in the grander scheme of things when it comes to villains. Now the thing about this My Hero Academia movie is that they borrow actually quite a lot from the actual show, so much that you're actually kind of questioning where this actually takes place in the grand scheme of the show, because there are a ton of spoilers in this movie for stuff that has happened in the actual show. And from, I would like to say, this is the 15-minute mark of this actual episode. This is now the spoiler zone. So if you have made it this far, congrats. If you don't want to be spoiled and you haven't seen the movie yet, I would suggest you turn away, but thank you for your listen. There's so much stuff in this actual movie.
Come back. I'll say pause it, come see the movie, come back.
Let's cue it up for a later date. There's a lot of things that happen in this that make you, to me, that I question in terms of where this movie takes place in the My Hero Academia like universe. And also, oh my God, they're really spoiling a lot. I don't even know if Ariel caught the fact that they spoiled so much in this movie for what happens in the future.
They spoiled so much without even, like, it didn't even seem like they second guessed, like, hey, do we spoil this or not? Just like, no, we're gonna throw it in there.
Casual, like, it's very casual that, like, Endeavor walks in with a huge scar on his face, and it's like, where's that from? He's not there in the anime.
Then, like, the biggest moment for me in terms of spoilers was when Hawk first came in, and they're talking, he's talking to the head of, the heroes and the secret mission, and they start bringing up the secret mission and all that. I'm like, no one here is going to understand that reference unless, you're like, this movie was made for manga fans. Like, that's really what I left that movie feeling like. I was like, this movie is made for manga fans because of just how much they introduce and how much they spoil and all they say. I'm like, if anyone that is watching a series now, they're not going to understand like half of these like little references at all.
Multiple references to the fact that Deku has multiple quirks inside of him. And I guess they kind of like established that, but it's very like quickly. And I'm like, wait, there was a whole thing. Like, you got to understand, they quickly like introduce it in the movie and continue to harp on it. But when you actually read the manga, and I'm sure when it's eventually adapted into a show, it's a lot of, I think it's going to be My Hero Academia season 5. That's more introduced. But there's a lot in terms of like him discovering and All Might also discovering that he has multiple quirks in him. And that becomes a point of thing of why Nine can't steal his quirk, even though he would like to. But it's just so much. And then, they introduced what else? Just a lot of different things. There's this article, I believe it's on, what do I have this on?
The GameSpot one?
Yeah, where they pretty much say like, hey, here are all the Easter eggs that you can find in this movie, including Endeavor Scar, the identity of the past All for One users, Nine's quirks, the actual reason Nine can't steal his quirk, the Air Force gloves. Literally, we're currently in the arc, if you watch the anime now, where literally the episode that was yesterday, where Mei Hatsume was developing Midoriya's gloves, and he still can't get this whole like shooting out of his fingers thing down.
Like he, even in the movie, he's just used it with ease, and I'm like, everyone's like, this is a whole new power, this is a whole new move that like he has.
Did people react to that? I wish I was in the theater that people would have reacted to this.
I remember my cousin just looked at me. He was like, what? I just looked at him back. I was just like, I would explain more, but I'm like, you're the type of person who doesn't like spoilers at all. I'm like, I say like the people around me I feel they were kind of taken aback. Like even when I was walking out the theater, you hear people talking about it and people are just like, whoa, what was this? And what was that? And I'm just like, it got to a point I felt that there's sometimes when things are introduced and they seem really, really cool. But there's sometimes when things are introduced and they just end up being more confusing than cool. And I think some of these things were like that, of like, this is more confusing. I really don't kind of understand it. But I mean, it looked cool, but I truly don't understand like where this came from and what is going on.
Maybe they're trying to sell more manga copies, more volumes of the manga.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Because
but
if I was watching that movie, to me, if I was watching that movie and I didn't know anything was going on, I mean, you don't have to take anything from it. You can just be like, just take it for what it is. It's like, oh, he has multiple works. Oh, that's interesting. And they do a little explanation in the middle of the movie, but you don't really have to buy it. But to me, if I'm like invested in this series and I don't know what the hell is going on, I mean, Hawk is he was a big addition to this movie because he is, from here on out, especially after the current arc that we're in, he's incredibly important to the series. So him definitely being in this movie, I liked it because it gave like fans a little bit of a preview. Maybe it got him familiar with him. You're like, oh, that's the dude from the movie. Oh, maybe you can introduce them, but a lot of the things introduced in that movie did not have the same effect, in my opinion. But you know.
And I think that kind of happened more because Hawks is a cool character. When they introduced him, you know, people are kind of like their eyes are kind of drawn to him of like, oh, okay, like here's this new hero we really haven't seen before in the series. You know, they're giving him, you know, they were giving him actually a lot more screen time than I thought they would.
Me too.
So like he was pretty prominent throughout the movie.
Maybe they're trying to adapt it from a lot of superhero movies that are out there in terms of just like combining those worlds, adding a little bit of you know, adding some stuff here because there's even with the villains, for instance, the villain 9, he's introduced in the series and he has apparently some relationship with Tomura Shigaraki and Dr. I forgot his name because his name changed, but he has some sort of relationship with them as well. But like, he's never, you know, thinged into the show. I actually looked it up. I looked it up on the Wikia, and he was apparently referenced in a flashback in a chapter of the manga. And I was like, since when?
You know, once again, it kind of just goes back to, you know, them, I feel just trying to introduce a lot. And, you know, I think that was really hard on the movie because there were some things like in a sense of how even 9 got the powers that he got. That is something that I feel you need some backstory on in terms of like how he even got his powers, like all those experiments that they're doing. You need context to that. You can't just like throw something like that in there and then kind of expect people to be like, oh, well, I can see how that could connect to the whole series. People are going to be confused. And people are not going to truly know what's going on. I'm still trying. I like what you said though about them trying to kind of make this more of a superhero movie. They really did kind of follow that outline of, okay, here's these really cool Easter eggs that we could throw in here that, you know, that hardcore fans could, you know, they're gonna geek out at. But it's hard because, you know, with anime, you know, with comic book movies, I feel that there's a bigger, like, since comic book movies aren't such a show, I say like a TV show, they're more movies than anything, that it's easier for people to like read the comics and then see the movie and then connect the movie to the comics. With like anime movies, you know, there's a group of people who just watch the series, there's a group of people who just read the manga, and there's a group of people who do both. And it's really hard when you got these 3 different subgroups really, and you're trying to please them all, you know. And I think with this, I think they were, you know, they were attempting to please, I think, manga readers a lot more than everything else. And I think since that overtook everything, you know, there was a lot going on that, you know, once again, casual just fans of this or people who just watch the series, they're just going to be kind of lost in the midst of everything. Like they'll probably still really enjoy it. They will probably still think, oh man, visually this is so cool. Like all these things are cool. But in terms of just like, you know, now you're having to go back, finish season 4 and like all these other things, you're kind of just like, okay, where does this fit in, or where does this play in with the, you know, bigger, you know, scheme of things with us watching the show?
I'm super interested in Japanese fans because this movie came out in December, and None of the stuff even was close to happening, or even reference to happening, or even it. For those fans who watched that, it was definitely a manga-driven reason to go see this movie. And you literally, I mean, if this comes out in December in America, literally you only know kind of what is all going on if you're reading the manga. And if this came out in December, I think a lot of fans, especially a lot of American fans, would be confused. But I'm thinking that they want more people invested into all parts of this series, and they want people getting invested into the manga. They want people invested into the show. They want people invested into the movies and everything like that, because it literally makes no sense, in my opinion, to be kind of like revealing all this other stuff. Now, with that, I'll say that the movie wasn't bad at all.
No, I didn't. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I think even with the problems that they did have, like, the movie was still very enjoyable to watch. Yeah,
did it frame to you as an actual like movie, or kind of like a long episode to me? Because like there's a little bit of me that was just like, I feel like I could be watching this on Funimation at home, and I would kind of retain the same experience. But did the feature length of it all kind of like make it feel like more of a movie to you?
Literally the first thing I said when we walked outside the theater was, this could have been a straight to TV movie. Like, that was the first thing. I was like, this could have been a straight to TV movie, just because it did seem just like a long episode of, this would have been a really fun, like, My Hero special type thing.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. Like, I felt that if I watched this at home versus watching this at theater, I would have walked away at the end of the movie. I would have felt the same.
Yeah, I would have literally felt the same.
Like, it was enjoyable. It was entertaining. It was fun. But at the end of the day, like, I was just kind of like, okay. Yeah. Like, that's kind of just how I kind of felt about it. It was just kind of like, I didn't walk out like blown away. Like, oh my gosh, like, this is like the most. No, this is
there was
like
some stuff in there. I was like, oh, that's tough. All right,
yeah.
That's fire. But yeah, same to you. And I think when I texted you after I got the movie, and you were like, I think we felt the same way about this movie. I think this is generally the way that we both feel about this movie. That if I had to recommend you go see it in theater, I'm like, all right, I'm always recommending people see anime movies in theaters, because we need to support more animes in theaters, so they aren't just like, there's so many initially limited showings of the Dragon Ball Super movie, and I was blown away initially by the limited showings of it, and it eventually grew as they realized the demand for the movies. But in terms of this type of genre thing, I always try to advocate that people actually go see the movies. Now, if you were asking me like how I felt about the movie, it's completely different, because once again, yeah, I just felt like it was a cool watch. And
okay, so side note, while you were talking, I was doing some digging, and I'm looking at the New York Times graphic books and mangas bestsellers for February. It was just updated 2 days ago, and My Hero Academia Volume 1 is on the top 10 at number 8. And so I wonder if their big experiment of let's get more people to read this manga is actually working, because Volume 1 is somehow on 10 now. Which means I feel probably some people just went out and was just like, what? I'm gonna start reading the manga. I'm gonna read it from the beginning. Maybe their big experiment did work. That was just a little side fact.
No, I mean, you could be right. I mean, quite honestly, I think just becoming more enveloped in this is what they'd all hope for. So we would continue to buy the manga. We would continue to buy the terrible video game. We would continue to buy the shows and the DVDs and the Funimation subscriptions and all this other stuff. And that's what I think that they want from us. So, maybe that's it. Maybe this is what the movie is. In terms of the actual movie itself, the plot to me, initially the plot, I was like, when they introduced that all the students are on an island by themselves without supervision, I was like, huh.
It was such a different tone from what it was before, in terms of, listen, you guys, we've been attacked.
Show.
Yeah, we've been attacked 50-11 times.
It's like, are we not afraid of any interference by the League of Villains? I was like, they'll be fine.
Yeah,
there's no villains on that
island.
There's
1,000 people on this island. This island has nothing but petty crimes. They'll be fine. They'll be there answering phones and fixing tractors, and it's gonna be a nice little whatever. How many months they're gonna be there?
It'll show them that all heroing isn't kicking someone through the chest and and giving multiple people CTE at the same time. Like it's not about us. It's just someone's drowning at the beach. Let's go save them.
Oh man, like I think it's funny though, because like you really think about the series, all their heroing experience is either been like life or death. Like they don't have like the soft skills of heroes. They're just kind of like, you know what? All we know is, one of us or all of us are going to be in a near-death experience, and how to think on the fly, and how do we fight these people that are like 15 times stronger than us. My
favorite part was Bakugo. Like, I'm not doing any of this.
Yeah, I like that. Listen, you know me, I'm Bakugo Hive to the end. But I listen. I like how he just was like, man, listen, this isn't my forte. This is not why I became a hero. Send me back home to where the danger is. Yeah, this is not what I'm here for. But no, I just find it funny though, because their tone is so changed up, because even when they were doing the work studies, they're like, listen, you're not gonna be allowed to do a work study unless you're doing a work study under a top hero. Like, you're not even allowed to even think about going to a second-rate agency. And then now they're just kind of like, you know what? You guys will be fine. We're gonna throw you on this island. No supervision. These are all high school students on an island answering phones. They had like the most organized setup.
Yeah. To me, that was just like the moment of the movie. I was just like, I know they wanted to get all the actual heroes out the paint, and that's kind of where they're kind of like they're molding the movie as an anime movie, where let's have things not happen that affect the actual show. Let's not try to kill anybody. Let's not incorporate any major heroes into this. But the fact that they went unsupervised to an entire place, to an entire island, and in the grand scheme of the actual show, where they can't even have their festival without, like, their festival is completely locked down.
Yeah, their festival is like invite only, like strict attire. Like their festival now is like the Met Gala, where it's like only the elite of the elite can come to here.
Right, they got hound dog heroes serving on the outside. I'm just like, this. You know what? Fine, let's do this. I know they wanted to get the actual heroes out of the paint and kind of give all of the shine to the actual kids themselves, which I think is good, because I think actually I think, and one of the pluses I'll give about this movie is that everyone gets a moment, even the ones except Invisible Girl. Like she's just invisible. I don't know what her.
She's help, and like she accepts her role. That's one thing I respect about her. That she was like, you know what, I'm not out here trying to fight. I'm here for backup to make sure that you guys get support. But no, I do agree that one thing I do enjoy about this movie is that it's all focused on the student. It's all focused on the kids. It's all class 1A.
Solve their own problems, them trying to save themselves, them coming up with a plan in order to save themselves. It's not where an adult comes in and is like, all right, well, you need to make sure they're okay. You need to make sure you're going to do that. Kind of like how the overhaul arc was, where there's so many different people that come into line. You end up having five of the actual students that the show is surrounded around. It is My Hero Academia. You only have like 5 of the students, and like the other 15 students are just chilling somewhere in their house, not doing anything. In this show, in this actual movie itself, they actually like, okay, we're going to take out the rest of the heroes, and we're going to give this to kind of all of the kids and have them show out and have them. They all got their hero licenses to this point. So they're able to show out and do their thing.
Yeah. They did a really good job of just, like you said, just letting everyone shine, letting everyone have their moment of their big hero moment in a sense. Shout out to Ojiro, who really had the hardest task of all of them. I mean, I'm jumping a little ahead, but he really had the hardest task fighting Chimera.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give him his little shine, because he definitely, it was kind of, I feel it was like one of those moments where you're like, you're comparing yourself to your classmates and you're just like, oh man, like these guys, a couple of these guys are light years ahead, especially when you're looking at like Deku and you're looking at Bakugo. Then you see how they handling their villain fights, and then you see kind of the lower guys. There's kind of like, oh, okay. There's definitely still a power difference in some.
Is there any of these kids that you went in previously like cold on that you were like, okay, you're like killing it in this movie, I may come around on you? Because there's obviously the big three, like Bakugo, Midoriya, Todoroki, and I was initially scared for Todoroki because he was kind of like, he wasn't part of the major battle. It was kind of like really just a Deku and Bakugo affair. So he was like kind of like, I won't say with the scrubs, but he kind of was. But
oh yeah, he was definitely what he was definitely with the second unit. He was not in the starting lineup. They're like, you're gonna be 6-man. You're still gonna get your shots. You're still gonna get your touches, but you're just gonna be with the second group.
Right. But is there anyone that you turned around on, or maybe you like saw something different in? Because everyone gets their shine in the show, and you get to see everyone's quirks come into play and all these other things. Anyone?
I think really Ochako, really. I won't even say I was cold on her. I'm not gonna say that. I will say that I was, with her character, they had the relationship, tension thing between her and Deku, and I think that for a lot of the series, they play much to that with her character as this kind of character who she just cares for Deku, and I think this movie really just highlighted her as just her own standalone hero. She really came through,
especially towards the end with all the bullets.
Towards the end, her final battle where you really just see her kind of use her quirk in a way that is, that looks cool, and that looks like like she can actually like do stuff in battle.
She's on the front line in battle, and she's not like, it wasn't like the overhaul arc where she was there, but she didn't really get the moment that like Kirishima got, or she didn't get a moment that Deku got, or anything like that. And poor Asui and actually Uraraka didn't get those actual moments, but you kind of get to see them in display. And I think Ochako Uraraka, her moment, I was like, damn, she's kind of much more versatile than I previously thought. Because she can provide support, and I think probably her quirk is much more suited towards support in terms of getting things to float away. But then she can also battle, and she's also on the front lines.
Definitely. So I just think like her. Oh, yeah. What about you? Who you code on?
I liked. So there's like a couple like kind of standouts to me. I like Ashido, as people, the acid girl, who kind of came in and she kind of did her thing, and I'm like, her quirk is not bad. I feel like I think it's just by her nature itself, her kind of like upbeat nature, that she isn't really taken seriously. But how athletic she is, and all her dance moves, and her actual quirk of like acid and stuff, like she could do some damage if she actually wanted to. And then I'll also say probably like,
I think Sato, he also had just a moment where you kind of see him really on the front lines. It was just a little bit of everything. Even Zero. I think Zero is probably the one that I was like, okay, especially once again that final scene, like Zero was really going hard. You really don't see him use his quirk much. But no,
you don't see him much at all, to be honest with you.
You really don't. He's kind of just like, even in the series, he's in the classroom scenes, but other than that, like you really don't see him with anybody else. But no, Zero really, they gave him a nice little boost at the end of okay, like let's let this guy kind of rock out. Especially seeing his quirk. I think the big thing too is Tokuyami having kind of his big moment too in this movie. He gets a one-on-one fight scene, and granted, like they do, in the series they show him a lot of love. But his scene at the end against Slice was dope, and to see him kind of hit that where he kind of loses control over Dark Shadow for a bit. I think that scene was super dope. Just how they kind of give him that moment of, all right, here's this guy that we obviously know is kind of a fan favorite. He's one. I say he's a fan favorite. Let's just give him this moment where he gets this one-on-one battle with with this villain, and let's see how he handles this moment. And he they killed it, for real.
Let's talk about the villains of this movie. The villains of this movie, it includes 9. It includes, none of them have very particularly interesting names. Like, to me, none of them are Gang Orca. But
Gang, that's such a dope name. Gang Orca is the coolest name. Beth Genius and Gang Orca are the 2 coolest characters that My Hero has. I'm just gonna say that.
We have the main villain 9, who holds 9 quirks. I'm wondering if he was named I'm wondering if he was named 9 before he had 9 quirks. But here we are. Maybe he decided he was going to be called 9. Then we have Slice, which was the lady who sliced up with her hair. Then we have Mummy, who was kind of like a jobber, who jobbed real hard to.
He definitely took the squash match.
And then they had Chimera, who is, to me, he's like wolf, alligator, bird. Just
OP,
weird,
super OP.
He was more frightening than he was almost as frightening as the main villain. I was beginning to understand.
There was a moment where I was like, I kind of wished he was the main villain. Just how ridiculously strong they made him. I was like, I don't. Well, my thoughts on the villains, like you said, their names aren't the, there's not a lot of pizzazz to their names. To be honest, like just in general of villains, there's not much depth to them. They have the typical villain goal of, we're gonna create this new great society of where people can just be, where people can just use their quirks, or is the only thing that matters. You don't need to be a hero or a villain. I know, I think they look cool, especially when they're first introduced. They kind of look like this clan of assassins. And originally, that's what I thought, like, the direction of the movie was going to be when they first introduced them, of just like, oh, here's this like group of assassins they're going to go do something crazy. But no, I think visually they're very pleasing. My Hero does a good job with their villains. Even if there's not much depth to them, they just look cool. They just look like they want to just kind of shit. So I was kind of okay, cool. Like, but no, overall they're cool villains. I felt they were solid for the movie. But I think once again, this one-dimensional feeling of the villains kind of made this movie feel like, okay, this could have been this is a long episode of this. Felt like, this could have been a TV special of just like because of the villains. There wasn't much background given to them other than we're some, like really the most background you get of the villains was Chimera, when he's talking about like how society kind of tossed him aside because of just how he looked.
The main villain 9 himself, he has some sort of relationship with the doctor. Once again, I forgot his name. I was actually trying to look up his name while you were talking, but can't find his name right now. But he has some relationship where he assumed he just gets all for one. The doctor gives him all for one and the ability to hold multiple quirks and able to maneuver part of them. And then he kind of becomes like this, like, this store villain, this like, Jack Shop, version of All for One that they have to kind of like go through, and it's interesting in kind of how they take it on. But he decides that even though he has 9 quirks, like his body still can't hold 9 quirks, so he needs a cell regeneration quirk. He tries to kill the little 2 kids' father. I don't even remember the name of the kids. It's like, because I feel
for
like
some for like characters that seemed very important, they don't seem very important.
Yeah,
like I did, like even when I looked at theater, I was like, I don't even remember
it's
the little
just
boy's
like,
name. And like he was a boring, like he was supposed to be a vital character in all this. Like
his name,
you know, they but no, yeah, like the kids seemed, yeah, they seemed that they were supposed to be there. There was a reason for them, but they just didn't kind of amp up that reason in a sense.
Yeah, so the kid in the name, the boy's called Katsuma and the girl is called Mahoro. And Mahoro, she doesn't really trust heroes, but you know, blah blah blah. The boy wants to secretly be a hero, blah blah blah. He has this cell kind of regeneration quirk where he's able to heal people's bones. It's great for support. It's great for all these things, and I assume that's what his dad was as well. Nine tries to steal the quirk from his dad. Realizes his dad has a different blood type. Damn, that's trash. So he's like, oh, got to find the little boy who, you know, coincidentally also has the blood type. It's called cell activation. So he's all the entire movie he's trying to steal this little boy's quirk. And the heroes themselves are trying to fend them off, and you get these various battles of them trying to go against. And I like the little first team up with Bakugo and Midoriya, and it doesn't go it goes fairly well, and then they get like murked because he has 9 quirks. And you know, they have to retreat a bit, they have to come up with a plan, and then they eventually come up with said plan to separate, you know, the remaining villains, and they have a lot of great fights. I think that once again, you mentioned the Tokuyama fight with Slice, in my opinion, a great shining moment for him, even though he kind of gets exposed to sunlight, but at the same time he manages to defeat the villain by himself relatively before it gets to that actual point. There's a
he does the Super Saiyan yell. You know, after his shorty gets hurt, he's a Super Saiyan yell, and then he goes insane. But no, I do, man, listen, the fight scenes, it's kind of one of those things where it, you know, in anime movie and shown stuff, you know, the action scenes is really the big selling point with this stuff, and I know they did deliver with that, and I'm not gonna front, like every fighting scene was beautifully done. They were so entertaining.
Great choreography, great moments, great everything like that. I'm referencing that fight with Chimera when Todoroki, Ida, Kirishima, Asui, I think there's someone else maybe, but they're all going against him and they're having a tough time. It becomes less of like, we just have to beat him with overwhelming force. Like, we have to push ourselves past the level that we think that we can push ourselves. And that's kind of like what being a hero is all about. And it's kind of like what, you know, it's something that's been echoed throughout the series themselves of kind of going beyond your limits plus ultra trademark.
Yeah, everybody screamed their plus ultra moment.
So everyone has to go past their own limits to be able to succeed. And I give it up to that group because they surprised me the most, because that move that Todoroki does, I forgot what it's called.
Something zero, below zero, I think.
Yeah, it's like below zero something. It's like a fire quirk that his dad taught him, but he decided he didn't want to use fire. He only wanted to use ice because, like, fuck his dad. But
yeah, I love how they're still playing with that for the simple absolute zero. There we go. But I just love how they're still playing on that. Even though he's used his fire side before, like even like, you know, he's accepted like, okay, I'll use this side of me. But I love how in the movie there's like, he's still using the resistance of I'm only going to use ice in this battle.
Yeah,
I think he uses fire twice. Yeah, he only uses it. But no, I do. That scene was super dope. I think this the absolute zero, just the move, how it looked. It was very like Mortal Kombat-esque of like him sticking his hand in his mouth. Yeah, like like him sticking his hand in his mouth, and he's all right. I'm gonna freeze you from the inside out. Then, that scene was, I think that was the plus ultra scene of just like all of them just kind of like, all right, man, we have to go. No, we have to go harder. We have to go farther. We have to get this opening. Ida was like, I'm on my last bit of gas. I need an oil change. He was like, but I could push it to the limit. That moment was that was tight. I enjoyed that fight very much. And like I said before, the action scenes in this movie were great. They even not even the final fight scenes, like when they first even get introduced to the villains, and you're getting introduced to the villain's power. The introductions of like when you see how the difference between power levels was even pretty dope. But yeah,
no, it was we were talking about that. I want to kind of get to the big moment itself, and that's the Bakugo, Deku, Vegeta, Goku. This is all about us. Let's get to him. I'm fighting alongside him. I don't want to fight alongside him. And Deku's like, I've known this kid all my life, and all I wanted to do was know that we could fight alongside each other and be the greatest heroes ever. And they're having this major moment. It eventually evolves into a much major moment where they are so much in dire straits that Deku passes the one for all ability to Bakugo. And what was your thoughts when that actually happened, in my opinion? Because in my mind, I was like, fuck this. Kind of. I was like legitimately, I was kind of like, yeah, are we sure? Okay. We want to do this in the movie? Okay. All right. Whatever.
Yeah, I kind of felt the same. I was like, oh, so we're going to go here. Like, this is the actual direction we're going to go with this? I was like,
that's exactly what my reaction was. I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And Bakugo gets his Super Saiyan hair, and he gets, all for one, and, or rather one for all. And both Deku has it as well, even though it's flaming out, and they're able to beat him. And more so, Bakugo is able to beat him because the fire kind of goes out for Deku. And it's I didn't know. I mean, again, I was just kind of like, oh, they're going to do this. To me, just one for all is kind of like very sacred. I wouldn't see the point where he would have to reach. I would rather have Deku gone another level, than, even though it's like he already went 100%. He's like, damn, 100% is enough. What Rock? 2 people doing 100%, and I'm like, I guess I would have rather him take it up to another level.
No, yeah, and to be honest, when they did that, it felt that the constant reminder that Deku has multiple quirks inside of him felt very pointless. Like at the end of all of this, like they've brought up multiple times, like, he has multiple quirks inside of him. He has all these things, and then for the final conclusion to be, hey, I'm just gonna pass this power to Bakugo. Hold on, but side note, I love how Bakugo was like, bro, I really bit the bullet and teamed up with this guy, and we're still losing. Like, he's really more pissed about that than anything else. He was like, I swallowed my pride for you, and we still are.
I thought it was awesome.
Yeah, I loved it. But no, I would have much rather seen one of those quirks get pulled out, something other than, hey, let's give both of these guys this power. Because also too, Bakugo was never they never
He's
alluded to the
never-
fact that Bakugo was going to be a worthy successor of that power, anyways.
Yeah, nor do I think that he would. I mean, I'm not sure if Bakugo willingly knew that he was getting this power, but I feel like he would never actually succumb to the fact that he would have to use this in order to beat him. It's kind of like, I know we get to that point, and even in Dragon Ball Z, they get to this point where Vegeta's like, gosh, I guess I got to put on this Potara earring to win this battle. But like, I don't even think it's like in his character profile that he would be able to accept that. Nor do I think it was a little bit of an overkill. I know they kind of wanted to sell a movie and create a kind of moment on its own. And this is kind of like the moment for the movie where One for All is passed to Bakugo. Actually, all for one. Or is it One for All? I kind of forget.
Yeah, they could have really chose better names for those two powers. I'm sorry,
because I'm just One for All for one. I get it mixed up all the time, but it was an interesting, but even more puzzling was probably the aftermath of all that. I was like, you know what, fine, let's let's get out of here.
When it happened, I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna have to accept this for what it is. And
I was in my brain, I was like, how are they getting out of this? That's just in my brain. How are they getting out of this? Because with anime movies, it's a reset. They have to, by the end of this movie, they have to get back to where everything was at the beginning of this movie, because nothing can change for the sake of the actual series itself. Yeah. So it's kind of like a reset. So in my mind, when he does that monumental moment, I'm not even buying the moment, as opposed to like, now I'm kind of watching this like, all right, what kind of bullshit they're gonna pull now? So,
it was the worst. Man, listen, I'm sorry. It was the worst cop out at the end. The worst cop out of All Might coming to the aid and to the side of these guys. Deku's crying to him, telling them, "I lost it. I'm so sorry. I passed it to Bakugo. Bakugo has it." And then, he passes out, and then next thing you know, magically, One for All is just back in his body, and he's like, wow, it chose you. It's never done that before. Like, huh? And then Bakugo wakes up, zero memory of whatever happens.
He has amnesia, and I'm just like, you gotta be shitting me.
Oh, bro, that was the worst cop out. And I think to be that the ending was the least favorite part of the movie.
To me, it was.
It felt like one of those things where they wanted to have this big moment, but they just really didn't have a solid conclusion to the end of it. And they're just like, you know what? We could throw some bullshit at them and we'll just see how it works. And it didn't work, guys. I'm just going to let you know now. It did not work for me.
No.
It just felt like, it just didn't feel like it was thought out all like fully through. Like it seemed that one guy was in the writing room and was just like, what if we gave Bakugo, One for All? And then everyone just like perked up and was like, yes, let's do it. Let's go ahead with it and we'll figure everything else later. And then it comes later and we're like, oh, we're almost 2 hours into this movie. We probably need to wrap it up. How are we going to wrap this up?
Yeah.
And someone was like, the amnesia route. And then they're like, okay, cool. That sounds good to me. And then just throw it in there.
It's to me, it was kind of crap. But again, I knew something wild had to happen because of how this movie was actually formatted and all this other stuff like that. So there's no doubt in my mind that this was actually going to happen itself. But overall, I probably still enjoyed the movie. All the fight, like you said, the top billing is the fight scenes. Like even the Dragon Ball Super movie knew as much plot development as they had throughout the movie. It's like if this movie is not half of them fighting until a giant ice thing, and then like it turning, and then the entire environment turning to like a hellish fiery thing, like people are not going to feel satisfied. So it kind of did what we deserved. Once again, I think we both walked out like, they probably could have released this as a straight to TV or something along those lines, straight to streaming service, Netflix or something along those lines, and we would have been like, okay. Would
you see this again in theaters?
Would I see it again in theaters? No, I would say no. I wouldn't see it again in theaters for the movie. I would see it again in theaters if all of my friends really wanted to go, and I wanted to have a good time and see it. But if I had to, like, if you're asking me would I willingly buy a ticket to go see it in theaters again, nah, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah, like I legit probably won't watch this movie again until the DVD drops. Like,
I won't watch it again until it's like out on something.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, really. Yeah, I let the movie. I was like, you know what, it is what it is. Like you said, the fight scenes really, are the saving grace of this movie. But if I, willingly going, because I told you too, I was like, yo, I'm probably gonna see this twice. I was like, I know I'm already planning on seeing it twice, and now when I left the theater, I was like, I'm probably not gonna see this twice in theaters.
Yeah, I'm probably not gonna see it twice.
I was like, I'm gonna.
We all have our pipe dreams.
I was like, I'm definitely gonna wait until the Blu-ray drops. I'll probably get the Blu-ray or just buy it, and I'll probably watch it one more time again on DVD, and then probably put it up on the shelf. And
yeah. No, so I say this in fact, and as we wrapping up this entire thing, would you like to see more movies like this? Would you like to see more movies in a Demon Slayer type of vein? I have an idea in terms of what they could do for the My Hero Academia series. I think that there's so much heroes, so many quirks, that the next film should definitely be an origin story. And I think it should be of All Might. And I think it should lead up to the battle that he has with All For One. The initial battle that he had that kind of like scarred them both before he meets Deku. I think that's worth something, because there's a lot of All Might in his. You're able to bring back, characters like Night Eye. You're able to bring back characters in the past movie. You're able to bring back a whole bunch of. You
actually get to see, his master. You get to see her in action. I definitely think with My Hero, man, looking more into the past than the future is going to help them more in terms of movies.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the Demon Slayer movie. I am excited to see that they're actually turning a full arc into a movie. So like, the whole movie is going to be connected to the series. So it's going to be kind of a must see type of thing if you want to, get a full grasp of everything.
Right, and it's not going on coincident. It's not going on, alongside the actual airing of the show, so you won't have to be worried about being spoiled, because the movie, I would presume, is coming before a season is even announced or anything like that.
But I'm really interested in seeing how Demon Slayer is gonna work out, and in terms of just things, I think it's gonna work out perfectly. And just because we even talked about this before off of this, of just like how does Demon Slayer end, like where does it go? I think My Hero has really, they've gone, you can tell they've taken a lot from the superhero world, and they have expanded their universe so much that they can do these kind of non-canon movies. I think Demon Slayer, the world that they have built, is such a, it's in a, not I'm gonna say so specific, but the world they have built that is going to be, if they did a non-canon movie, it would have to be one of those things where it's like, it would have to be an origin story type thing, or they would have to they would have to introduce like a really strong side villain, because all their chips have been on Muzan to be their main villain. So now in terms of movies just in the future though, no more future stuff. I think just no more future stuff. I just don't like how they try to jump in front of the storyline, because it just they
now if they made the Paranormal Liberation arc thing a movie, would you be into that?
Oh yes.
I mean, it would be the first movie without actual the actual characters everyone knows and loves. So I think it would be kind of risky, but I think if you want to definitely appeal to those fans, especially the fans they're trying to appeal to, which are all the manga fans, because God, honestly, with all the spoilers in this movie, they got to be appealing to somebody.
Yeah.
If they chose to do that, that would be fire.
That would be fire. I think especially if they did it after the season in which the city battle happens, if they do it kind of after that, where it's kind of like, no, they do kind of the Demon Slayer thing of we're just going to turn this whole arc into a movie. That would, I would definitely be interested in that. I think that would work more than kind of what they did now, because of, even casual fans, will have some type of background knowledge of like, okay, what's going on fully. And even manga fans will be, you could service your manga fans because they're just like, they've read it, they know kind of what happens, and they're just kind of like, oh, I can't wait to see this on screen. So it's a little bit of them kind of, once again, hitting that sweet spot where people are getting serviced. I think with this one, they, like I said, they geared towards manga fans that I feel casual anime fans are going to watch this movie and just be like, they're going to have a lot of questions and then be like, yo, what's going on? Like, what is this? And then when they finally see it, probably on, during the series next season or whatever, they're going to be like, oh, like, I just think that payoff is it's too long. It's too long of a wait for them. But no, I think if they turn the Paranormal Liberation Army into a movie, I think it would work out really well for them. Because that series, I mean, that arc is long anyways.
And it's a lot of backstory, a lot of characters that get
allowed them to do a lot with it.
Yeah. Funimation's My Hero Academia Hero Rising opened on Wednesday in 1,275 theaters and was the top movie on its first day with 1.7 million. Kenji Nagasaki's anime action epic is going to earn more in 5-day opening than My Hero Academia 2 Heroes earned in total. The film earned $5.6 million Friday through Sunday debut for an 8.92. Okay, I need to stop talking like a fucking New Yorker. 8.92 million Wednesday through Sunday opening. So it's going to open this weekend with $8.92 million, which will be close to its run. I think the last My Hero Academia movie ended up tapering out around 11 million. So this is pretty good. I mean, it opens with nearly 9 million in its first week. That means it's grown in the United States, and people are actually excited for it. So all I can say from here is to continue to support anime movies, continue to support that genre, continue to support anime just in general, and continue to support The Lookout.
Yeah, definitely. We're your new, one-stop shop for all anime manga content. So like this, last week was a really fun week for The Lookout too. We had Pokemon week. It was man, listen, all of us here, we appreciate all the love and support that we get from you guys. But yes, continue to, these things are, anime movies and just anime in general, it's only going to get bigger. It's only going to get better. So like, continue to support it, continue to like even if, the movie isn't, everything that you want it to be, it, at the end of the day, it's still very, entertaining. Because I remember watching anime movies and like, I wasn't seeing them in theater. I wasn't seeing them on the big screen. I wasn't seeing them with hydraulics in my chair and water mist. So, continue to, So continue to, just support, the movies. Go see them. It's. These things are, it's only going to get better. It's only going to open up more doors too for, your favorite series and then the things that you like, so, the bigger this gets, the more opportunities to see more and better things, on the big screen. Like you said.
Yeah, you can, once again, I'm Meelz. You can listen to me on the Lookout podcast. It airs Tuesdays. And you can just follow us on the Lookout at iTunes and Spotify. I'm here with Jamal, who is the host of the Big Eyes podcast, which airs every Thursday on the Lookout on RNC Radio. Make sure you subscribe once again, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, everywhere where you can listen to podcasts. It is there. It is wild. It is important. It is everything. Make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to us everywhere. Thank you guys for listening. If you guys want more stuff like this, please let us know. Follow us at the Lookout RNC on Twitter, and you can stay tapped into everything that we've got going on. We'll see you guys pretty soon.
All right. Stay Plus Ultra.
And stay ready, stay tuned, and stay prepared, and stay subscribed to the Lookout. See you.